All right, let's just jump right in. I want you to think about something for a second. What if a pill you take every day, something you trust to keep you healthy, was actually silently shrinking the memory centers of your brain? It sounds like something out of a movie, right? But the science? It's becoming way too clear to just ignore.
So what is this number? Well, it's pretty startling. Researchers have found that just one common class of drugs can cause your brain's key memory centers, like the hippocampus, to shrink by over 28% in less than a year. And listen, we're not talking about some rare experimental drug here. We are talking about medications that are probably in millions of medicine cabinets right now, maybe even yours.
This quote, it really gets to the heart of the whole issue. Here's the thing. That forgetfulness, that brain fog, when you lose your train of thought, so many of us just write it off as, oh, I'm just getting older. But what if it's not? What if it's actually a reversible condition caused by a drug? That's a total game changer. It's not just aging, it could be a side effect. Okay, so here's our game plan for this explainer. First, we're going to talk about how this reversible dementia can even happen. Then, we're going to count down the big culprits, from stuff you can buy at the drugstore to some heavy-duty prescriptions. We'll uncover the #1 hidden risk, and you're going to be surprised by this one. And most importantly, we'll wrap up with a clear, step-by-step plan for how you can start reclaiming your mind. All right, first things first. To really get what's at stake here, we have to look at the chemistry inside our own heads. It all boils down to one absolutely critical chemical that our brains need for, well, pretty much everything related to memory. And that chemical is acetylcholine. The easiest way to think of it is as the brain's memory messenger. It's like the email server for your neurons, letting them talk to each other, form new memories, and keep you alert. Now, the problem starts with a whole class of drugs called, get this, anticholinergics. Just like the name sounds, they block acetylcholine. They basically shut down that communication network. And that's where all the trouble begins. So let's kick off our countdown. We're starting with 3 medications that are just incredibly common. In fact, you can grab some of these right off the shelf, no prescription needed, and you'd probably never even guess the kind of long-term impact they could be having. Okay, look at this. What's wild here is just how widespread these are. Coming in at number 9, we've got diphenhydramine. That's the main ingredient in Benadryl and a ton of those PM or nighttime sleep aids. It's a really potent anticholinergic, and it's linked to a whopping 54% higher risk of dementia. Then at number 8, we have proton pump inhibitors. Think Prilosec or Nexium. Now, these work a little differently. They're not anticholinergics, but they can stop your body from absorbing vitamin B12, which is essential for your brain. That's a 44% increased risk. And finally, at number 7, bladder control meds like oxybutynin, another powerful anticholinergic, upping the risk by almost 50%. Hey, quick question for you. Is your mouth often really, really dry? Like bone dry? It might sound random, but these anticholinergic drugs don't just mess with your brain, they dry you out everywhere. So that constant dry mouth, it could actually be a physical sign that your brain's memory chemical is being starved. All right, let's keep going. We're moving into the prescription-only stuff now, where the risks start to get even more serious and, honestly, the science gets even more concerning. This next group, wow. At number 6, we've got some types of statins. Yeah, the cholesterol drugs. Here's the thing. Your brain is about 60% fat, and some research suggests these drugs might reduce the essential fats your brain cells are made of, leading to a 26% higher risk of mild cognitive impairment. Next, at number 5, benzodiazepines. You know them as Xanax or Valium. They basically put your brain activity on a sedative. Long-term use linked to a shocking 51% increased risk for Alzheimer's. And at number 4, amitriptyline. It's an older antidepressant, but it's one of the strongest anticholinergics out there, carrying a huge 54% increased risk of dementia. Okay, I have to stop everything right here. This is so important. Please listen. This information is to make you aware, not for you to start treating yourself. You cannot, I repeat, you cannot just stop taking these medications on your own. Stopping drugs like benzos or antidepressants cold turkey can be incredibly dangerous, even fatal. The only safe way to make a change is to work directly with your doctor to create a slow, careful tapering plan. Please, your safety has to come first. Okay, on to the next 2 heavy hitters. At number 3 is paroxetine, also known as Paxil. Now, what's so important to know about this one is that out of all the common SSRI antidepressants, it's pretty much the only one with these major anticholinergic effects, and it's linked to about 30% more cognitive impairment. And number 2 is, it's just really alarming.
antipsychotics. Now, ironically, these are often prescribed to dementia patients for education, but the research, it shows they can actually speed up cognitive decline by a staggering 71%. It's this tragic situation where the supposed treatment might be making the whole thing so much worse. So we've counted down 8 different types of medication, but the single biggest dementia trigger hiding in your medicine cabinet, it isn't any one of them. Nope, it's something much more subtle and, frankly, way more dangerous. So what is it? What is the number one trigger hiding in plain sight? It's the question that thousands of families are wrestling with every single day, and the answer, it's surprisingly simple, but it gets missed almost every time. And the answer is this. The biggest threat, it's not one pill, it's the load. It's the cumulative effect of everything together. There's a medical term for this, anticholinergic polypharmacy. It's the silent, creeping effect of combining things. Maybe you take a Benadryl to help you sleep, and an oxybutynin for your bladder, and an amitriptyline for nerve pain. See? On their own, they each carry a risk, but when you mix them, the cumulative burden can more than double your risk of dementia. We're talking a 120% increase. It's like creating a chemical cocktail that just slowly, day by day, sedates your brain. And this isn't just theory, this happens in the real world. Just look at the case of a woman named Joan. At 81, she was hospitalized with what looked like severe dementia. Everyone thought it was irreversible. But then, a really sharp pharmacist did a deep dive into her medications and realized her total anticholinergic load was through the roof. By carefully, safely reducing that burden, her mind came back. Her cognitive function improved dramatically. Joan's mind wasn't gone. It was just buried under the weight of all those pills. And that story brings us to what is, without a doubt, the most important part of this whole discussion. Look, understanding the problem is one thing, but knowing what you can actually do about it, that's where the real power is. So let's talk about the path to getting your mind back. The very first step is to ask for a dedicated medication review. Not just a quick mention at the end of a checkup, but a whole appointment just for this. And when you go, bring everything. Every single pill you take, prescriptions, over-the-counter stuff, vitamins, supplements, all of it. And use this exact phrase. Can you please calculate my total anticholinergic load? That's the magic question. From there, you can start a conversation about deprescribing, which is just the medical term for safely getting off meds, and exploring what safer alternatives might be out there for you. And the good news is there are often safer alternatives. For example, instead of a high-risk drug like oxybutynin for bladder control, you could talk to your doctor about newer options like mirabegron, which works in a totally different way. Or instead of a proton pump inhibitor for heartburn, maybe a simple H2 blocker is a better choice for you. The key takeaway here is that you have options, and you absolutely have the right to ask about them. I really want this one thought to stick with you. For so many people who are dealing with this drug-induced brain fog, your mind isn't gone. It hasn't disappeared. It's just sedated. And lifting that chemical burden can be like a fog lifting on a clear morning, allowing your brain to finally work the way it's supposed to.
So that brings us right to the end, and to the most important question of all. After hearing all this, which medications are you going to ask your doctor to review? Seriously, think about it. Making that call, scheduling that one appointment, it could be the single most important thing you do for the future of your brain.